Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Pokemon Challenge video. Playing through Pokemon Sword using the evolutions was a lot more difficult than I expected it would be. So today, let's head back to Pokemon Crystal and continue our hunt for the best Kanto starter in Johto. Charmander is potentially one of the most popular starter Pokemon of all time, whether you love or hate it. If you're in the crowd of hating Charizard, don't worry, we're gonna be going through this entire game with only Charmander. No evolution, obviously. Charmander's stats are pretty good for a base form of a starter Pokemon. Really bad HP, but solid speed and attacking stats. And seeing as how it gets Flamethrower at level 31 in Generation 2, that's a really good thing. Though outside of Dynamic Punch, Iron Tail, and Dragon Breath, there is really nothing else Charmander learns that is good aside from fire and normal moves. So we could have a rough time with coverage. Not much else to be said in Generation 2, so let's go over the rules really quick. Obviously, as always, no items are allowed in battle. Held items and Pokeballs are fair game, however. The Charmander I start with is the only Pokemon I'm allowed to use in battle. HM users outside of battle are fine, but only Charmander is allowed to fight. And I must defeat Pokemon Trainer Red. It wouldn't be a Johto run if you don't fight Red. Personally, of Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, I think Charmander's gonna be the hardest to take on Johto with, but maybe he'll prove me wrong. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, it'd be really awesome if you left a quick like down below, and subscribe, of course, if you haven't done so already and want to see more like this in the future. And maybe even leave a nice comment down below like these guys. Shout out to Best West, Adventure Atticus, and Izzy Briggs. Thanks so much for watching and commenting. With that being said, let's jump into this and see how easy or how difficult it would be to beat Pokemon Crystal with only a Charmander. I begin our adventure as a young boy named Red. Green played through Bulbasaur. Now it's time for Red. I chose Cyndaquil for the greatest challenge, and upon reaching Cherry Grove, I open our PC to find a baby Charmander named Dan. Then we run into an old man on the way back to the lab. He stole the Totodile from Professor Elm's lab. We tell the officer his name and make our way to Violet. While optional, I decide to clear out the Sprout Tower since Dan has the advantage. It gives plenty of easy experience for our first gym challenge versus the flying gym leader, Faulkner. But as always, it's Faulkner. This gym can't be difficult. He's just such a pitiful level. More like his dad's knockoff bird Pokemon, am I right? Faulkner must be like an 8-year-old boy who loves his father's train collection and wants to play with it so bad, so his dad goes and buys the cheapest train set possible and then tells him it means so much to him. Yeah, you know what? This roast quickly became kinda sad. Let's just take our Zephyr badge and move on. 1 down, 15 to go. Not too much from Violet to Azalea, making it time for our second gym challenge already, versus the bug gym leader, Bugsy. And we're using a fire-type starter. How much did you expect us to struggle? Ember one-shots his Metapod and Kakuna, and it does over half the Scyther, making for a quick and easy fight. There's the Hive badge. 2 down, 14 to go. But our next rival battle with Jerry wasn't so straightforward. Ember almost is enough to one-shot his Ghastly, but we got a lucky burn, and Hypnosis missed, taking it out on the first turn. But then his Croconaw comes out, and even with Smokescreen, it hits through, doing quite a lot of damage with Water Gun. We're gonna need a different strategy. So I teach Dan the TM Bugsy just gave us for the move Fury Cutter. With enough luck, we can build it up strong enough against Ghastly, taking it out, and at that point, it's enough to one-shot his Croconaw. And while Zubat was a close call from Supersonic, Dan manages to take care of Jerry. Before reaching Goldenrod City, we pick up the odd egg. But let's wait on the egg guess. I'll get this egg out at a much later point. This should be interesting. I stopped by the Goldenrod department store to purchase some TMs. Since it's Sunday, I'm able to get the TM for return, which with a lot of running around can be made incredibly powerful. And I also grab an upgrade to Ember in Fire Punch. We'll have Flamethrower soon, but this helps a lot for the next gym challenge. Versus the normal gym leader, Whitney. I got really lucky here. Fire Punch does over half to her Clefairy, and it missed Double Slap. You don't see that every day. And then her Ace Miltank comes out and begins to chain Rollout. Being weak to it makes it really deadly, and Fire Punch did a bit less than half, but it burned it. That makes the following Rollout put it below half health, making the next Fire Punch finish it off. There's the plane badge. 3 down, 13 to go. After scaring Sudowoodo off, we reach Ecruteak City and have another rival battle with Jerry. But now that Dan has upgrades and Fire Punch in return, only his Croconaw is able to attack, and just once, making for a really easy fight. And inside of the city's gym, Dan learns the move Flamethrower, making Dan even more powerful. And this is super noticeable against our 4th gym challenge versus the Ghost Gym leader, Morty. Flamethrower one-shots his Ghastly and Haunter and does well over half to his Ace Gengar, while it misses Hypnosis, making for a flawless victory. There's the Fog Badge. 4 down, 12 more to go. After clearing out the Rocket hideout in Mahogany, it's time for our next gym challenge. One we have the type advantage against, but are also weak to, versus the Ice-type gym leader, Price. He leads with Seal, which isn't part Ice-type, making Flamethrower not very effective, but also making its Icy Wind pretty weak. But Return is still able to 2-shot, and Flamethrower is able to 2-shot Dugong as well, since this one is part Ice-type. But it takes a few more hits thanks to it deciding to take a nap. And his Ace Piloswine is weak to fire, making for an easy one-shot with Flamethrower. There's the Glacier Badge. 5 down, 11 more to go. In Cianwood, we unfortunately get the medicine to cure the worst Pokemon of all time, and while we're here, we take on the next gym challenge, versus the fighting gym leader, Chuck. Flamethrower one-shots his lead Primeape, and out comes his Ace Poliwrath. Return does less than half to it, and it uses Mind Reader, so I know a nasty Dynamic Punch is coming Dan's way. Return takes it to Red, and it uses Hypnosis, and then missed? How'd it miss? That is really odd. Mind Reader ensures the next move is a hit, but it just missed me. Does it not work with status moves? Oh well for Chuck. There's the Storm Badge. 6 down, 10 to go. And with Jasmine back at her gym, we were free to push Ampharos off of the lighthouse. I mean, we're able to have our next gym challenge versus the Steel Gym leader, Jasmine. And as you may expect, it was indeed Flamethrower, Flamethrower, Flamethrower. There's the Mineral Badge. 7 down. Only 1 more to go here in the Johto region. But first, we have to deal with the Team Rocket Takeover. And that means another rival battle with Jerry. His Feraligatr takes more hits than usual, but it still only knows Water Gun. That's a big yikes from Generation 2. If it had something just a little bit stronger, this could have been a roadblock. Either way, with him taken care of, finishing saving the radio tower was really easy, allowing us to take the ice path over to Blackthorn City, home of our 8th and final Johto Gym challenge, versus the Dragon Gym leader, Claire. And at first, this seemed really problematic. We can't one-shot her Dragonair, and they paralyze you with Thunder Wave, causing a sure loss against her Kingdra. But with this game's equivalent to a Cherry Berry, we can get to Kingdra consistently with full health. But if we can't avoid damage from Kingdra, we're done in 2 shots with Surf. But then I come up with a pretty awesome use for a move you would never expect. We are at full health for her Ace Kingdra, and we outspeed. This means we can go for a Dynamic Punch. It's a coin flip if it lands or not, but if it does about the same as our Return does, and confuses the foe 100% of the time. And if it hurts itself in confusion, it is then in the range to be taken out with another Return. And the chance for those things to happen really isn't that bad, making it really easy to pull off. And with hitting through Paralysis against her other 2 Dragonair, we're able to defeat her without much problem. This seemed like a big roadblock, but who would have guessed Dynamic Punch of all things would be useful? Awesome! There's the Rising Badge. All 8 badges of the Johto region are now ours. It's time to head to the Pokemon League. And before heading there, I fly over to Cherry Grove City and take the odd egg out of the PC. Comment down below in the comments section the closest town to where you think this egg is gonna hatch. I'll give a shout out to the first person who gets it right the next time we get an egg in a challenge video. And hey, even if you aren't first, I'd love to see your guess anyways. And here's a hint, we are doing Kanto. Shout out to Irish Diaz for being the first to get it right in the Zoe run. Great job, Irish! One final rival battle with Jerry cuts it close due to a critical hit, but Dan manages to just barely make it through, allowing us to enter the Pokemon League. Here's a look at Dan as he currently stands. I know there is literally no chance whatsoever that we beat Lance at this level, but I'm gonna go in anyways and see if we can at least beat the Elite Four at this low of a level. Let me know if you think we can do it. First up is the Psychic member Will. Flamethrower one-shots his lead Xatu, and out comes his Slowbro. Return does about a third, and it goes for Amnesia and then Curse. This makes it so it takes 4 hits from Return to take out, letting it hit Dan with a Psychic before going down. Next up is his ace Xatu. Flamethrower takes it to Red, and it confuses Dan with Confuse Ray. He hits through though, and takes it out with 2 more blasts of his Flamethrower while Will heals. Then comes his Jinx. They have horrible defense, so I go for Return, but it survives on what looks like a single hit point, and slams Dan with another Psychic. But he survives on only 8 hit points, taking Jinx and then his Exeggutor down for the win. Next up is the Poison member Koga, but 3 of his Pokemon are weak to fire, so Dan burns his Ariados and Forretress really quickly, and then literally burns his Muck. Crobat put up a bit of a fight, but Koga is just a really easy victory for Dan. But Bruno, the fighting member, isn't gonna be as easy. In the first attempt, Dan isn't even able to one-shot his Hitmontop or Onix. And Onix, of all things, is able to take Dan down. I know we're weak to it, but I have never seen Bruno be a threat. Somewhere J-Rose is laughing. But luckily, I prepared ahead of time and got the TM for Sunny Day. I teach this to Dan over Dynamic Punch and form a plan. His lead Hitmontop almost always goes for Dig on turn 1, so by hitting it with a Smoke Screen and then using Sunny Day while it's underground, we get to use all of the turns it's active, one-shotting Hitmontop and Onix as his ace Machamp comes out. Machamp survives in red despite the sun being up, but missed its Rock Slide, and then Bruno heals, while Machamp goes down to 1 more Flamethrower that caused a burn. The sun faded after this, however, and his Hitmonlee comes out. I have Dan resummon the sun with Sunny Day, and it smashes him with a high jump kick. It does a lot, but the following Flamethrower takes Hitmonlee out with a critical hit that probably didn't matter. And then, his final Pokemon Hitmonchan got a critical hit that did matter with Mach Punch, causing us to lose the fight. Eventually we make it to Hitmonchan again with enough health to take 2 Mach Punches, assuming they don't crit me. But he only used 1, and 2 hits from Flamethrower finishes Bruno off, leaving 1 Elite Four member left, the Dark member Karen. Flamethrower does around exactly half to her lead Umbreon, and it does very little with Feint Attack. I then summon the sun with Sunny Day as it confuses Dan with Confuse Ray. He hits through, however, taking Umbreon out with another Flamethrower. He continues to hit through, and another Flamethrower one-shots Gengar, and then her Murkrow, as her Ace Houndoom comes out. Return does over half, and it does a good amount of damage with Crunch, but since Dan outspeeds, he takes it out the next turn. And 1 final Flamethrower finishes Karen's final Pokemon Vileplume off, only leaving the champion of the Johto region versus Lance, the Dragon Master. And there is absolutely no way we can win this fight right now. Even using the rare candy I had to take Dan to level 58 isn't gonna do anything. It is clear we're gonna have to train. But hey, beating the Elite Four with a Charmander in the mid-50s was pretty cool. And with Kanto and Red coming up, we're gonna wanna be as strong as possible. So I take the slower training route and make sure to get as much effort values as possible. They work differently in Generation 1 and 2, and instead are stat experience. It goes upwards to 65,000, and you get the Pokemon you knocked out stats as experience in your stats, meaning more Pokemon the better. So by fighting lower level Pokemon, you get more stat experience per each level you go up. I get Dan to level 68, and by the time we go back through the Elite Four, he's level 70. Let's do this! Return still fails to one-shot his Gyarados, but all it does is use Rain Dance. Here I go for a Sunny Day before taking it out, weakening its Surf by a lot. Then Aerodactyl comes out. Flamethrower in the sun still is unfortunately not enough. Just barely, so we get hit with a Rock Slide. It does a lot, but we still take it fairly well, and Return finishes it off. Next up is the first Dragonite, and here's where things start to go downhill. Flamethrower in the sun does over half, but it uses Thunder Wave paralyzing Dan, and with him now slower, he quickly loses the fight with Dragonite and its Hyper Beam. We need to be able to one-shot Aerodactyl and have a better move for his Dragonite. So I teach Dan Iron Tail and Dragon Breath. With Iron Tail, we can one-shot Aerodactyl with a strong, super effective hit, but even Dragon Breath isn't enough for his Dragonite. But it has the side effect of being able to paralyze them. With enough luck, we may be able to make it through the fight if we can avoid being paralyzed really early on. Eventually, we get the perfect run, with Dragon Breath paralyzing the first Dragonite, stopping it from attacking, and the second one missed Thunder Wave. His Charizard goes down to 2 hits from return, hardly doing anything to Dan, only leaving his final Dragonite left. Dragon Breath does over half as it has been, and it slams Dan with an Outrage. Luckily though, no critical hit this time. I've been getting hit with a lot of those lately, and one more Dragon Breath with an unnecessary critical hit of our own finishes Champion Lance off. We just became the champions of the Johto region, only ever using a single Charmander in battle. But we aren't done just yet. Time for Kanto! After exiting the Viridian Forest, our odd egg hatches into a shiny Pichu. If you said Viridian City and a shiny, you were right. It is time for the true final battle versus Pokemon Trainer Red. Dan is level 77 from defeating the Kanto gym leaders, and Flamethrower easily one-shots his Pikachu. Next up is Espeon. Flamethrower does over half, and it puts up a Reflect, with one more Flamethrower taking it down. Next up is his Blastoise, the biggest threat on his team for Dan. I know we need to paralyze it with Dragon Breath to even stand a chance here. Dragon Breath hardly does anything, and it summons the rain with Rain Dance. But the following Dragon Breath paralyzes it. It stays fully paralyzed, and another Dragon Breath puts it under half as it once again remains fully paralyzed. And one more Dragon Breath puts it into the range of return, and it once again is fully paralyzed. We had to have this luck, or we were done for. One Surf, and we were out of here. Next up is his Snorlax. This thing's a monster, but a lucky critical hit with return puts it under half. One more return takes it really low, and it smashes Dan with a body slam. It does a massive amount of damage, but thankfully didn't paralyze me. And one more return finishes Snorlax off. Next up's his Charizard. Surprisingly, despite being the same level, we outspeed it. All of that training we did really came in handy. I have Dan use Dragon Breath to try to paralyze it, and the second one does. It stays fully paralyzed, and return takes it to red. It hits through with Wing Attack though, but Dan survives on 11 hit points, finishing the big bad Charizard off as a little Charmander, with his final Pokemon being his Venusaur, and one more Flamethrower fails to take it out? What? But it only charged up its Solar Beam! And since we are faster, one more Flamethrower finishes Pokemon Trainer Red off. We just beat Pokemon Crystal, only using a single Charmander in battle. And for Dan's incredible effort, I let him evolve. What? I just found a shiny Rapidash while trying to evolve Dan for the ending. You're kidding. I was just thinking how funny it would be, and I used my Master Ball on this Larvitar because I wasn't paying attention, and I thought it was a shiny. Oh shit! Can they run? I don't have any Pokemon. Oh no, I want it so bad. Dan? Would Dan one-shot it? Oh no! Oh dear. Not like this. Dan, please catch this thing. I beg you. No! Please, no! I used that Master Ball thinking, it's the end of the game. It doesn't matter if this thing's shiny or not. Please, Rapidash, have mercy! It's weakening itself. The catching rate in this game is so bad. I'm not gonna catch it. I can't believe I'm gonna fail a shiny. believe I just found a shiny Rapidash on Mount Silver. Please. Yes. Brian, why? This is why you were first out. You suck. No! No, I can't believe it. Dan, I'm begging you. Do not kill it. And I mean, Iron Tail's probably better. I use Iron Tail. Dragon's Breath could paralyze it, but Iron Tail's not gonna kill it. Dan. Oh, I wish I did that to begin with. No! You shook 3 times at full health. You're not gonna do this to me. I can't believe this. Gen 2 shinies are so cool. Please! No! The devastation. Imagine if I didn't get to throw my Ultra Ball because it killed me. I'm begging you. Rapidash, please love me! Yeah! Now, I let Dan evolve into Charmeleon and then Charizard. And we have won this game. What an ending! Well, that was most certainly a way to end a challenge run, if I do say so myself. I had a ton of fun with this one, and Charmander is officially now better than Bulbasaur. For beating Pokemon Crystal anyways. Let's do Squirtle later to round off this battle and see who the best for the Johto region is. I upload a Pokemon Challenge video just like this one every single week on Saturday, 10 AM Eastern Standard Time, and maybe even sometimes other days too. Before you leave here today, it would really mean the world to me if you left a like down below and maybe even a nice comment. And if you haven't done so already and want to see more like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell as well for more. And who knows, maybe I'll even feature your comment in a future Pokemon Challenge run of mine. And if you have suggestions for future Pokemon Challenges, leave those down below. I'm always reading them. Did you miss the Bulbasaur run I did? Now would be the perfect time to watch it and catch up for the Squirtle one that I eventually do. Or you can just check out the playlist containing all the Pokemon Challenges I've already done on the channel thus far, so you can pick one out for yourself. You can find a link to both of those things over here. With that being said, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video, as always, and hopefully I'll get to see you next time for another Pokemon Challenge run. Until then, hopefully I'll see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching!